Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to 2019. The year's underway already, and I suppose we're a couple of weeks into January. It's time to get back to work, as they say. Not that I have stopped work over Christmas. I, obviously had a couple of days where I didn't do anything, but, with clients and questions and people getting stuff, sorts of things, I've been reasonably busy anyway. Not to mention, obviously, I'm still, working on the old firefighter stuff. So, a lot of design work and a lot of learning going on there. Learning Adobe Illustrator is a whole new world of fun. So anyway, I just thought I'd start the year off with a really big tip. And this relates directly to SEO, okay? And SEO really is my thing. It's the thing I love more than anything. And I honestly believe it's the most important part of online marketing if you don't have money. Most people, social media really doesn't work for to a great extent unless they're targeting a very small group of people. So building a group, for example, where you're working within that group and growing that group, yes, that will work for you because you're really targeted. And that's really, really important. But to just use your general feed, most people find that it's a pretty big waste of time unless you. But from my perspective, people go to Google to find answers. That's where they go to do their research. That's where they go to find whatever it is they need to answer the questions in their day-to-day life. Now, there's a couple of things that, before I get to my main tip, that I'd like to mention. The first is that voice search is really, really taking off. For those of you who follow CES, which is the big consumer economics consumer show in America, everything that was released almost had voice recognition in it. So either Amazon Alexa or Google Assistant. So that was from TVs to vacuum cleaners to microwaves. Okay, so talking to our things, our Internet of Things, our IoT, is going to become a bigger part of day-to-day life. But it also means people are now talking to their devices to find out answers. For example, I'll just pick up my phone and say, hey Google, play such and find out someone on Spotify and start playing it. So there's lots and lots of uses for it. I have, the little Google minis around my house, and I use them constantly. It's like having an assistant. If I've got an amount in front of me, $3,125 times 7, minus 10%, Google can work that stuff out for you. So you don't have to actually work it out for yourself. And I'm learning to become more and more reliant on it. So Google search directly is becoming more important. You'll see companies like Officeworks, for example, have already integrated Google search technology and their catalog. So you can actually do your order via voice on Google. Now, I don't know if that's really for me personally, because number one, I like to walk around Officeworks and touch everything because it's a pretty cool place. But also, I like to be able to see the list of things that I've got. And I think at the moment there's this little issue with of information. So, for example, if you have a page listing, say 10 products that you want to buy, you can scan that very quickly and go, yep, that's what I want. But for someone to read it to you takes much, much longer. Now, I don't think that'll ever change. I think that's human nature. So, for example, I prefer to read an article rather than sit and watch a video sometimes, because I can actually scan it far faster than I can watch it. But I do like to listen to video, so I often put a video on and listen to it while I'm working. No opposing points of view, and I think it depends on the information that you're actually after. But in the case of like Officeworks, I truly believe that while it's a great idea, I think it's a little bit gimmicky, but it is growing. So search now, you need to look at your information that you've got on your pages and make sure you're answering questions directly. So Google's looking for answers to questions, and even more specifically with voice search, they don't want long-winded stuff. So if you, how do I convert centigrade to Fahrenheit? And then underneath it, you have a neat paragraph where you talk about how to do that. That's the sort of thing that Google will use for the answers on Google voice search. And also you'll see those in the structured snippets that you see sometimes at the top of the page. When you ask a question like that, you'll see a little box with the question and an answer underneath it, and then a link to a page. So looking for more and more of this. If you want to leverage the top of those pages, answering questions clearly and concisely in short paragraphs is going to help. And it will also work as we've seen it so far with the Google voice search and Alexa voice search as well. So look at your information and look at, can I answer this quickly in one paragraph, and then go, so to go into more detail, So you start off, with a short paragraph and then lead into more detail. You may find this will help grow your business. But voice search is certainly growing and become more important. So getting to my tip. My tip for today, and this is something that should stand you in good stead for the rest of the year, and this is to do with SEO, and that is that you need to be using your keyword more. The fact of the matter is that most people, when they produce an article, they like to talk around a topic instead of talking about the topic. Because it seems like if you had 50 articles on your website and every single one of them mentioned iPhone, then in the title, then when you looked at them all, it would seem like you are overusing the word iPhone to your human brain. But the point is that if your whole site's about fixing iPhones, then that doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what your human brain says. The search engines like it and are more likely to show your page as a place to go for fixing iPhones. If you talk about iPhones and iOS and Samsung and Android and all sorts of topics, and you fix iPhones, you are watering down your SEO. So you need to be using your keyword or keyword phrase, whatever it is. So it might be I fix iPhones, for example, in every single article on your website. Not just some, not just the occasional one. If you really want to leverage the power of SEO and get more traffic and become the site on that topic that Google goes to for all its answers, you need to be using it in every one. So as you go forward into this year and you go to write an article, look at how you're naming the article and make sure you're using your keyword and keywords in that article title. Now, it's going to get to the point where when you see your keywords, you're going to feel like throwing up because, and I've said this before and you'll see it in the course. But the point is true. You've got to stay on topic. Do not go off topic. Every time you go off topic, you water down your SEO, and Google cannot decide what it is you're there for. And I see this all the time. Okay, I go into a client site, I get in there and I find out they've talked about so many different topics. So just say they're a lawyer and they specialize in business law, but then they've got articles about family law and they've got articles about civil law and cases in criminal law and all sorts of stuff that they find interesting, that they think might make an interesting article. And yes, it does make an interesting article, but it has nothing to do with what they specialize in, and that is business law. So have a think about that. Have a think about the content on your site, and you may need to go back and just retitle a whole pile of articles. Okay, it's okay to do that. It won't hurt you. In fact, I'll go through and retitle a pile of our client articles so that they contain their keywords somewhere in there. Now, sometimes it's a little difficult, and it may be that you need to tag on your keyword at the end. So you may have the title of the article, then use the vertical bar, which is on the right-hand side of your keyword above the slash, and then put, fix iPhones, whatever it is. You can do that, okay? That's acceptable. It might make the title a little long, which isn't ideal. Google doesn't like that, but it's better than not using it all. But don't resort to that unless you have to. So welcome to 2019. I hope that you're getting a plan in place for this year. And I'm going to run a session on putting a plan in place for your online marketing very soon. It's really, really important that you start to get some things laid out. If you're like me, I can roll from day to day to day, and next thing you know, another week's gone, another week's gone. It's not a good way to live. So I have to actually take the steps to put some structure in. It's my nature just to roll, but you can't afford to roll too much in business. Otherwise, you get behind on all the things that you need to do. And suddenly we're looking at 2020, which is an Olympic year, yay. And also the last year of high school for my son. So easy one to remember. My wife's an optometrist, so, 2020 is a big number everywhere in our family. So I'll leave you with that. have a look at your SEO, think about what you're doing this year, and bring yourself back onto your niche. Do not drift off your niche. Do not drift off your keywords. Keep yourself tight, or you will pay for it in the long term. You do a lot of work and it will not lead to what it is that you're trying to do. And that is to own your niche online for what it is that you do sell or know. Have a great week, and I'll talk to you soon.